Penalties against drug use should not be more damaging to the individual than the use of the drug itself. Nowhere is this more clear than in the laws against the possession of marijuana for private use by President Carter. I'm going to be talking to you today about why marijuana should be legalized and the benefits the United States would receive from legalizing marijuana. I'm sure you're all thinking I'm crazy, but why should it be legalized? I'll give you a few good reasons. Number one, many lives are destroyed each year by being arrested for marijuana possession. These arrests aren't even for trafficking or dealing. It's for minor possession. According to the National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws, otherwise known as NORML, there are 700,000 people arrested last year alone. Just to put that in perspective a little bit, that's the number of physicians in the United States, and for those football fans out there, that's enough people to fill each NFL stadium on any given Sunday during a football game. That really put it in perspective for me. Also, according to NORML, there were 5 million people in the last decade alone arrested for marijuana possession. What could the benefits be? You don't know? I'll tell you. Number one, medicinal marijuana is prescribed to AIDS patients, cancer patients, and people with multiple sclerosis. According to the ONDCP, medicinal marijuana can cause unintentional harm to patients. Okay, let me put that in perspective for you all. It's publicly known that when marijuana is prescribed to a patient, it's usually because they're terminal. And since the marijuana is used to relieve symptomatic relief, it's just there to make them feel better because there's no other option for them. In 2005, there was the Gonzalez versus Rydick case, and in that case, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that an individual can be arrested by the DEA for violation of the Federal Controlled Substance Act, even if they're prescribed it by the state. What are the personal benefits? Number one, marijuana would be decriminalized. You wouldn't be considered a criminal if, on your off time, and if it doesn't affect your work, why should you be considered a criminal? Since 1973, there are 13 states that have enacted versions of decriminalization. These states accept the fact that it's going to happen. That there are people out there that are going to smoke marijuana whether they have permission or not. So what these states have done, for example, Massachusetts, they voted in November of 2008 to enact a fine system instead of jail time. What this does is it eliminates the prosecution, which saves time for law enforcement, and there are only fines, so there aren't any criminal records for these people. They aren't going to be looked at as, no good people just because they smoked a little pot in the day. Okay, so now that I've told you about the medical benefits and the personal benefits, let's move on to the industrial benefits. This is my favorite. Farmers are prohibited to harvest hemp because it contains 1% THC. Hemp can be used to make over 25,000 environmentally friendly products each year. So, what happened is, since we can't grow it ourselves, we import it from other countries. There are 2.3 million hemp products, 2.3 million pounds of hemp products imported each year alone. Imagine the revenue that the United States could get from that. First of all, in this quote, I'll just read the end of it, as much as 50 billion annually to the good of the United States. Just to put it in perspective a little bit. Okay, today I talked to you about why marijuana should be legalized and the benefits. And I just want you to wrap your mind around this. Marijuana legalization would not only be beneficial to the medical world, but it can inevitably create more revenue, especially if the government taxed it like they do tobacco and alcohol. Thank you.